And good morning. Welcome to Things You Might Not Have Heard for this day, which is actually things you might have heard yesterday. Tuesday, May the 3rd, 2022 is a date we are recording this thing live and doing it on time, 5:50 a.m. in the morning Central Time, getting this thing up rocked off the right way. Thank you so much for joining us for your news side piece, your tertiary news source, a way to get in some of the stories that are definitely not top news stories, but do sort of intersect and give you a bit more context of what's going on out there in the wide world. My name is Jay Clifton Payne. Thank you so much for joining with us today. Make sure you stop by our main website, thisistheconversationproject.com, and see what more is going on and what more you have in store, if you will, by visiting the About page, checking out our full line of sponsors, seeing how you can partner up with us for more great things and other great surprises there as well. Of course, links to our YouTube page, if you're not watching this on our official YouTube page, is there as well. Let's get into this. We have 7 stories today. Yes, we're overshooting it. Yes, but there were 2 stories that I had to get in there to get a little bit of stuff off my head going forward. Now, let's go forward with this one right here. Story number 1. Germany will support an EU oil embargo on Russia. CNN.com on this one. The numbers delineate basically where this one came out in the range of the vetted stories. We take the top 15 stories vetted. We'll explain more of that in a bit. This story, basically the 9th story in that list for this morning. So what does this mean for everybody? Good news, bad news, excellent news, not so great news. We will find out as Germany is finally sort of kicking the habit of using the Russian oil and Russian gas, and they're going to support a full ban, a full embargo on Russian exports for oil. Germany, essentially about 5 years or so, towards the end of the Obama administration, was working on this pipeline straight from Russia to basically get oil and gas straight from them, and then of course, Donald Trump was all about that because he loves him from Russia. Now we're seeing some of the implications where Russia, being a bad actor, having their hands in the pockets of many European nations who have to struggle a little bit to get less oil from Russia, a close nation, very close neighbor that they can get it from, and a European neighbor, if you will. Germany's starting to essentially depend on their oil from Russia. Now they're finding ways to get off that addiction, if you will. And in that addiction, they're going to figure out ways to do that and say they're going to support a full European Union embargo, which means they've got to get off all the oil themselves as well. Story number 2, Raiders owner says quarterback Colin Kaepernick would welcome. Raiders owner says of quarterback Colin Kaepernick, read that properly, would welcome him with open arms. This is coming from thehill.com, a more political view on the situation. Second story in range on the day. Now, what does this one mean for all of us out there who are waiting to see what's up with Cap coming forward? Chances are Colin Kaepernick is not going to get a chance to play quarterback for the Raiders, although this would be most likely a real distraction from all the things the Raiders have been dealing with for quite some time. In the meantime, what the Raiders are saying and what the president is saying, he's sort of wavering in what looks like solidarity in the ownership to keep, Kaepernick out, to essentially blacklist him out. Part of the problem is there's so many bad quarterbacks out there that it's anybody in some cases is a better choice than what's going on. This has been a real issue during the COVID area where you literally can't plug people off the streets anymore. You have to have a whole lot of protocols going through there. The other thing is Colin Kaepernick looking pretty good, looking pretty fit, looking pretty well as an athlete. The biggest issue that had him benched in the first place was he wasn't performing well as a quarterback. And this is me saying that as a football fan, watching him play football. He wasn't performing as well as he could have. And maybe he was a bit of a sort of a pain to the San Francisco organization just by being himself. Who knows? And then the kneeling started, and that turned into a whole big thing. We will see whether the Raiders are going to give Colin Kaepernick a tryout coming up soon, or whether he'll pop up on one of these new fangled leagues popping up. Maybe he'll be the star XFL quarterback next season if that survives. These are all things we shall see. But right now we have people who are saying, sure, we'd take Colin Kaepernick, except they're not quite taking Colin Kaepernick just yet. Story number 3 for this morning is this one right here. Netflix cancels Meghan Markle's animated series Pearl. BBC.com gave us this one. This is the third story in the reigns of top 15 for the day. And this is one that has greater implications than just what you're watching on Netflix. Netflix is losing subscribers, and they're losing subscribers pretty big. They're doing a lot of cracking down on people to essentially they're losing money. So they started cracking down on people sharing subscriptions. Then they had a mass rush of subscribers just being gone, people logging in being gone. With that came some budget cuts. Ironically, to a lot of this series and a lot of the works being done by people of color and women, and then come the shows being cut. Pearl being a show that didn't get a lot of love from the viewers, so that's a good excuse to cut it. It's also attached to Meghan Markle, who Netflix and many other people who have paid up money to put them into the fold are cutting as well. What's it mean for the royals and Meghan Markle? Well, we had a story a few weeks ago about the royals, the semi-royals, basically telling the world how they thought it'd be a little bit easier run once they left the royal family, that they could be free to do other things and just take the opportunities as they chose, and not just be Windsors and deal with the family and deal with the firm, as they call it. Hadn't been such the case, because once you have to go out there and perform, you got to perform. And right now, things like this animated series Pearl and some of the other things they're doing aren't working in the performance area. Harry was doing very good in the ambassador role, but as an actual person, working person, not so great. And Meghan Markle can't just go out and do Suits 2 and, start, showing leg and things like that in her repertoire, because she's still kind of a princess, kind of. We will see how this plays out for the Markle going forward, and how that's going to work out, and whether any new deals will come in, or whether Meghan Markle will just sort of figure it out and find a way to be more marketable, pun intended, going forward. Next story. Everything Everywhere All at Once drops 0% in 6 weekend at box office. Slashfilms.com gave us that one. This is the fourth story in the mix to today, fourth ranked story, if you will. And this is an interesting one. This is a cool one. This is the opposite of what Meghan Markle and Harry are dealing with right now. Everything Everywhere All at Once is an amazing movie. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard it's an amazing movie that bends time travel and reality and sci-fi and does all these weird things and makes it a very enjoyable movie, something that's not seen very well these days. 6 weeks out, and it's dropped no audience. It's dropped 0%. It's only grown or sustained its audience for 6 full weeks. Nothing has changed in its release in theaters, and it's not out in streaming right now. It's only out in theaters. You have to go out and pay money to see it, and less people have, or there's been no less people to have seen it the first week as to see it the 6th week. It is only grown or sustained. This is an amazing phenomenon for movies. This movie here isn't going to fix film or fix theaters, but this is a case of where you have a better and a brighter future for how the movie theaters will react for things that people want to see. This is a word of mouth film that a lot of people saw early on, and I'm seeing so much response and so many replies on the internets and in the social media about this one. I'm going to go see it fairly soon, so we will get a chance to really get into it, but you'll have to kind of really learn about it and see how it goes. But this is a great thing for theaters, seeing that they're not quite dead yet, but this is not what is actually going to save them. The next story. Nike releases 60-second ad, the Mambacita Sweet 16 shoes on Gianna Bryant's 16th birthday. USAtoday.com gave us this one. 6 story in the link for the top 15 of the morning, and this is a very sweet story as it is. There were some back and forth, some innuendo, some hard feelings with Nike and the estate of Kobe Bryant, that being Vanessa Bryant and the family, on how some things are going on and whether the Kobe Bryant brand was going to actually continue with Nike or with anyone in that case. Apparently all those things have been figured out, because the Kobe Bryant brand, which essentially Gianna Bryant is a part of as his daughter, coming out with a brand new shoe on Gianna's birthday, 16th birthday, calling the Mambacita Sweet 16, a 60-second ad as well as that. So check it out. You can see the picture of the website from USA Today right there. Click the link inside of the rundown and check out the ad. Check out the shoes, see what you think about them, and show some love for the Bryant family and going forward, and for some posthumous love for Gianna Bryant. This is good news for business. This is good news for girls, believe it or not. And we will see how the business will play on the Kobe Bryant front and the Bryants in the future. So this is two more stories, way too many stories, but we wanted to get them in there and try this because beef is going on and I got to get some beef in. Beef number one, Blac Chyna loses $100 million defamation lawsuit against the Kardashians, Jenner family. And we also have Stephon Marbury aims fire at Stephen A. Smith. Quote, I truly believe he's upset that he couldn't play ball in front of 90,000 people at every night. That's coming from some weird new blog site. But it's the 8th story in our range of 15 this morning. The other story is number 7. So they're pretty solid stories. So let's start off with the lawsuit. Blac Chyna beefing with the Kardashian Jenners because you got to have beef. And what we're seeing in a lot of cases, these things is people are actually losing these lawsuits and losing money in the case. You can go and check out the website, the link we have in the rundown. It has a link to the USA Today article. I'm waving like you can see it. I'm actually doing this because it's over here. And go deeper into that one for the article there. It's just a weirdness that when, Hollywood and famous people is just like high school, except they're really, really famous people in your high school and you see them do all the things. When people get mad, people get angry, people start to lash out. It doesn't turn just hard feelings or bar fights or just people hating each other in town. They turn into lawsuits, which this one did. Whether this next one turned into a lawsuit, I don't know. Stephen A. is not really big, believe it or not, on fighting back, if you will. People blast him. He basically says, I got a TV show, what you got? And that's most of the people on Twitter. But Stephon Marbury kind of has a point. Stephen A. Smith is the king of hot takes, and he will tell you straight up that ESPN pays him lots of money so that you watch ESPN, so he should be paid a lot of money for all those hot takes that are extremely crazy. But he seems to be the man who brings people in. Stephon Marbury, a former NBA star in his own right, who tried to literally bring reality to the people by, marketing not super expensive shoes and being kind of a real guy in the mix, shouting out Stephen A. shouting out at stuff, basically saying that he just seems to be a bitter guy that's mad he couldn't play ball for real. Stephen A. Smith's most of his takes, because he covers a wide range of sports, he is the mouthpiece of mouthpieces, but he's basically, for the most part, a basketball analyst. He actually sits on the table as a basketball analyst for the current NBA show that ESPN ABC produced. A lot of that because they fired a bunch of folks because Stephen A. Smith makes a lot of money. But essentially, he's saying that Stephen A. Smith blasting all these different people, especially his current beef going on with Kyrie Irving, who many people have many beefs with, comes down to the fact that he's just really, really, really super jealous and wish he were playing ball himself. You can argue that both ways. You can go deeper into that one. That's on you for that one. But right now, that's some there. I had to get those extra 2 stories in there because I had to get a little extra beef stuff in there because it just seemed like the right thing to do. Spreading beefs is what we do as your news side piece. So right now, we're going to go to our teaser story today, or a teaser story. It's a story that we may talk about if you deem the story worthy into the range of the top 15 within the 30 or so we'll get out there. Headline is Punches Thrown, Intense Protest Standoff Outside Supreme Court. The first article I saw this morning was this one. This one will post in about an hour or so because it just got sucked into a chain. It may get shifted up by a little bit, but it buries the lead where it is a leak by the Supreme Court happened last night where they put out a draft decision where it looks like Roe versus Wade will be overturned by the Supreme Court. It looks like that's where they're writing up right now. Whether you're for that or against that, apparently there was a big deal as this protesters went nuts outside the Supreme Court last night. We will go deeper into that one. We get more stories in that. Seems like it was a leak. No one knows where it comes from, but it seems like it's been written by Justice Alito, I believe, on saying that essentially the standings of Roe versus Wade and the course case that came in 1999 are not so much precedent as they were based on bad facts or bad tidings, if you will. The notion that the case that they were built on, free speech, was a bad case to fill on. So with that, they can overturn it. We'll see what this means. We'll see what the political backlash it is. Trust me, this is all the chatter online. It's even shut down most of the Ukraine-Russia chatter, and President Putin's basically going to declare war officially on Ukraine. It's dropped that because Roe versus Wade is big-time news here in our part of the world. But we'll tell you how you can make this story a big story in a moment. But first, let's go to some great way to make commerce. And once again, out of order. So we're going to go skip ahead. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. We're actually talking about Blinkist today. The Blinkist app, which you can get a 7-day free trial of at thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Grammarly is great, but this week we are spotlighting Blinkist because we're spotlighting a couple different or 5 different books this week, longer than the 15-minute normal blinks, so you can get in full knowledge of books. This week or today, yesterday we had the 1619 Project. Today we're taking a look at another a longer book in the Blinkist line. This one's going to be How to Begin, Michael Bungay's Stanier will give you that book as well. And so check that one out. This one's about 24 minutes, and you can see how you can get in a book that would usually take you, if not a couple days, more than 5 to 8 hours. You can get it knocked out in this case about 25 minutes. In most cases, 15 minutes. Blinkist takes the best parts of the books, boils them down into the main points, and that are succinct, easy to read, and easy to listen to. And you can take them in, like I said, about 15 minutes. You can read them or listen to them in audiobook form. I listen to an audiobook every single night. I listen to an audiobook 3 to 5 mornings in the week as I go to work, because I can get them in about 15 minutes. Check it out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Thisisaconversationproject.com/Blinkist. Get the 7-day free trial of the full app on us. This is an affiliate link, so we do get a little kickback for you joining in and finding you, but you will fall in love with this app immediately. Now, let's talk about how you can actually help us out. Oh, and you want to go get a bed, go to thisisaconversationproject.com/bear mattress. I forgot, I'm out of order. That happens way too frequently here, I guess. The website for our project is thisisaconversationproject.com. You can find more details about the Conversation Project, why we do stuff, how we do stuff, sponsors, all the sponsors, although I think I talked about all of them here today, partnership alleys, and various things to do, like the plea, looking for specific things to help us grow, which a lot of that is get some merch, show some merch. That's what we're looking for. The way you can make one of my dreams come true and set up our teaser story to be the next story for tomorrow to talk about is follow us on our feeds, facebook.com and twitter.com. We're just Facebook and Twitter feeds. On Facebook, it's This Is a Conversation Project. On Twitter, it's th_conversation. As you see the stories posted in your feed, our feed, your feed, everybody's feed, every 50 minutes or so, read them, like them, love them, hate them. The more engagement a story gets, the higher score it gets into the morning. Tuesday through Friday, we took the top 15 stories because we get about 30 to 33 stories within a day of posting, day and some hours. And then we cut it off at 15 and we shuffle them through student to a pretty good narrative and provide for you mostly 5 to 6 stories. Today I overdid it with 7, but somehow we kept it in time. So if I can keep it in time, we'll keep it going around 7 stories or so. And so these are water cooler stories, and sometimes very, very big time stories based on how massive it is. You can see, if you want to talk about the Roe versus Wade overturning, or at least the protesters in that tomorrow, by making that a big story in the feed. Follow us on our YouTube channel by going to thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube. Just in case you're not following us on YouTube, this is a clip or someone sharing this with you. You can officially follow us 7 days a week on that one. On Mondays, we have expanded version, but we'll explain that on Mondays. We're doing great on time, so we're going to keep on going. Other things you might not have known about. We have today things you might have known about, starting with a pair of triplets, a triplet of triplets, a gaggle, a murder of triplets. May 3rd birthday today for three people, all turning 47 years old today. Willie Geist, the author, the anchor, the news guy. Christina Hendricks, the actress, the lady from Mad Men, who's doing plenty of other things, and Dule Hill, one of my favorite Hills, turning 47 years old today, of course, playing Charlie off of the West Wing, and playing Gus off of Psych, and now the father in this new redo of the Wonder Years, the black version of the Wonder Years. So that's going well. Dule's doing well. A new Psych movie's coming out fairly soon, I'm sure. So we'll see Sean and Gus come back together. But today, it's all about Dule Hill himself and his 47th birthday. National Foster Care is also today. So if you are a foster parent or thought about fostering, we salute you for what you do. If you're thinking about it, today's a good day to go call somebody and ask about it. Today's a great day to do that. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. A study finds that kids who lie well also have superior verbal memories. What does that mean? And this is by no means an endorsement, but this means people or kids specifically who can do great at telling lies, at saying falsehoods, and keeping straight faces and keeping the details straight are very good at listening to things and remembering what they hear and remembering also what they say. So the biggest issue with lying is you forget bits and pieces of your lie. If you have great verbal memory, you remember what you say and what you hear, and you remember the context, and you can keep up the facade much earlier. We're going to do our best to start putting more lie detectors on JJ because she is developing a little bit of this. So today is still, as I'm talking right now, Tuesday, May the 3rd in 2022, but this is the wrap up for things you might have heard for this day. So we've given you 7 stories to chat about with your friends out there at the water coolers, at the coffee bars, at the juice bars. If you still juice bar, still juice. Check us out tomorrow. We'll do this again for probably closer to 5 stories. Today was a push. We'll see what's happening. We're always doing some improvements. So if you like what you saw today, send me a note and tell me what you thought about it. If you didn't like it, send me a note, tell me what you thought about it. Shout out to Christina with the K, beautiful wife, who is watching us wrap this thing up, doing quality control. And we're going to just wrap for today. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task, because we need you here to do the great things that you are here to do. As we said, every 50 minutes, brand new stories posting. So keep on watching. We'll do this again tomorrow morning.